What is the one thing all small business owners want to know? Why is it that what I'm doing isn't working? You see, when you build systems the right way, they work with each other. That's what Founders Fire is all about. We have helped thousands of business owners just like you from the situation you're in to get you real results in real time with a system that we've built that's going to change how your business runs. We're going to help you figure out exactly where you are on that roadmap, and we're going to give you a systematic approach over the next 12 months to fully organize, systemize, and align your business with your vision. This is about you, this is about your calling, and this is about right now. More free time, more impact, changing people's lives. That's what Founders Fire is about, to help you find the freedom and to make the difference that you have it in yourself to make.
Well, welcome everybody. That is what Founders Fire is about. My name is Eric Beck, and we're going to dive into a topic today I think everybody will be interested in, sales. And I do apologize for the tone of voice, a little bit under the weather, but feeling good, but sounding a little bad. So please bear with me. So let's start with this. When we look at sales, we think about increasing our revenue. But I want to ask you to think about it a little bit differently. Sales certainly does that. But I want you to think about, what sales do you deserve? Okay, we think about earning sales or winning sales, and we kind of put it in a win-lose frame. And I think that's not a healthy way to do it. So let's just consider that there's a certain number of customers or clients out there in the world that you need to be serving. Okay, the question is, how do you close the gap but in knowledge? They don't know about you. They don't know what you do. They don't understand the value perhaps, and it's your job to close the gap. Now, if someone were to say to you, how many sales do you want? Most of us would probably answer by saying, well, as many as possible. We just want as much as possible. But that is a trap, and that's not a good way to view things. If you think about food that way, you're not going to be very healthy, right? If you think about, vacation that way, you're probably not going to be very productive. In other words, the key to life is balance in many cases. And when it comes to sales, we have to balance the idea for growth with the idea of assignment, meaning there are a certain number of customers or clients that your business really should sell and should make sales with. And ultimately, going past that is kind of cancerous. If you think about it, now some of you have been in businesses where you had too many sales and it overwhelmed your customer service or your production, and that caused a whole set of problems. So there's some of you who are like, man, I just need more sales. So how can we get more sales? It's all about more sales. Again, I think it's probably not the best way to think about it. So what I'm going to say is just consider going in a different direction. What is that direction? It's called presuppositional sales. So what if I said to you that there are 6,000 people in your market that not only need what you do, but they are your customers, but only about 2,500 of them know that yet. See, that frames sales in a very different light, because if you're going for something that you've not been assigned, if you're stretching for something that's just always about more, and you have not answered the question, what is enough? You're going to lose your peace. You're going to lose your joy. In many cases, you lose your profitability and you lose your business. Presuppositional selling, what does that mean? It means that if we do our job correctly, we never really make sales. We're just order taking. Think of it like this. Somebody is walking across the desert and they get to the other side of the desert. They're extremely thirsty. And you have a glass of water and you say, would you like this glass of water? Right? There's no selling going on. It's obvious what they need. It's obvious that you have what they need. You're making it easy for them to get it. And so they get it. It's just simple. Selling has gotten a bad rap because it's really the synonymous with the word manipulating. And I think that's a problem, right? It's like, you're kind of convincing someone, you're trying to put someone in a situation where they have a sense of urgency or scarcity. Those things are techniques, I think, that are somewhat predatory. Sale is by Friday, act fast. We've heard that a million times, and ultimately, we just don't trust businesses. I think for us to really become the influences and culture that we're supposed to be in small business, we have to regain people's trust, and not just your business individually, but business in general. Trust is gained by not playing games, by not being manipulative, by not doing all that kind of crazy stuff. So how do we do that? We do that by really, really understanding what this customer needs. And if we take the time to listen to them and really look at their needs, and then we paint a roadmap, a picture of what it looks like to get those needs met and satisfied, then that could bring them to our company, but it could bring them somewhere else as well. If that roadmap is not invented on the spot, you're going to have a lot more credibility. Because if you ask, hey, is this important to you? Hey, is this important to you? Hey, is that important to you? And the answers they give lead them away from your company. That gives you credibility, because now you can show them, hey, I'm not here to make a buck. I'm here to help you. And if what we do helps you, great, I'll make some money and you'll get some value. But if what we do does not help you, you need to go somewhere else. And that's me contributing to the well-being of business in general. The more business owners and the more employees help people who come to them, as opposed to profit off of people who come to them, the more we're doing presuppositional sales, meaning I have presupposed that there is a certain number of sales. There's a certain part of this market that is set aside for my business. Let's say you run dry cleaners, okay? How many dry cleaners in the city? I don't know, it depends how big the city is, but let's just say it's average town, USA, 200,000 people. There's probably 8, maybe 5 dry cleaners in that city, okay? Is your goal to put all your competitors out of business? Is that your goal? Is that why you went in business, because you want to beat people? I bet it's not. But business has gotten that rap, hasn't it? It's gotten that rap of, it's dog eat dog, it's win lose. But how does the customer feel, when they come in and their experiences and that kind of, Shark Tank sort of thing? They feel terrible, and they can sense it, right? But what if they come in, or they're on the phone or on your website, and they feel taken care of? They feel this is a place where I'm going to get told the truth. Then their trust is going to go up. And maybe you don't make the sale today, but probably in the future you will, because the sale you made, quote unquote, is the creation of a relationship that's valuable. I may not know everything, but about this topic, I'm an expert and I can advise you on what to do. And this is the direction I think you should go. And that's not with our company. You should go to these folks over here. That's what they're going to get you what you need. I don't know if you guys heard this story, and I'm probably not telling it about the right store. So this could have been like Bloomingdale's or Saks Fifth Avenue or Neiman Marcus. I don't remember one, kind of a high-end department store. And apparently a guy walked in with 2 car tires, 2 used tires, and comes walking through the shopping area and puts these tires, up on the countertop and says to the employee, I want a refund. And the employee does not know what to do. They're kind of stunned. But a manager saw this happening and walks over and says, sir, what's going on here? And he said, well, I bought these tires here, and I need a refund. They wore out way too quickly or something like that. He said, what did you pay for them? And they settle on a refund price. And it was, I don't know, it was $80 or whatever it was. This is a dated story, obviously. But he gives the guy $80 and the guy leaves. And the employee says, why in the world would you do that? And he said, because I'd rather him be walking through our store with $80 than to leave our store angry, toting these 2 tires. Now, I guess part of the story, I'm not sure if I remember this right, but I think part of the story was that there was a tire shop at that location, like, 20 years ago. And this guy, maybe he was elderly, had bought those tires there a long time ago. And so maybe he was a little bit confused. Obviously, I'm not talking about people taking advantage of businesses, but it's a very interesting approach to say, I'm interested in helping people. And if I can help people, it doesn't really matter what I sell. So when somebody goes into the dry cleaners and they're like, you know what, I've got to get across town and I don't really know the area very well. I'm new here. And that employee or business owner or whoever really just takes the time to help them. That's really what it's about. And so presuppositional selling is saying, look, the sales are mine. I just need to take care of the relationships. If I start chasing the money instead of providing the value and going for those sales numbers, then we're really just doing it in a way that I think is a slaving sort of way. I've used that analogy before of Pharaoh from the story in Exodus, that enslaved the Israelites or the Hebrews. And it's just that way of doing business is cutthroat. I know people will say, hey, that's just business, or use terms like that. But to me, we don't have to do things that way. And I'm going to go ahead and say we shouldn't do things that way. It hurts people. It hurts value. And then if you think of it from like a sales standpoint, it puts a pressure on you to create something that doesn't exist. I got to go and make sales. What if actually all you had to do was harvest? So what if it wasn't a war model of win-lose? Okay. I beat my competition. I won this sale. Hey, what if it wasn't that? What if it was more like harvesting? What if it was more like a farm and you planted the seeds in your field, not someone else's field, in your field? And those plants grew and came to maturity and you harvested that fruit in your field, not beating anybody. Why does it need to be about win-lose? Why does it need to be in that competitive model? Now, you may say, well, that's wonderful, Eric, but what about everybody else's business? They're still going to be super competitive and cutthroat, and I'm going to miss out. Are you? Are you going to miss out? I don't think you are, actually. I think if you take just a little bit wider view, you'll see that the quality of the relationship that you create with your prospects, that clearly shows that you have their best interest as the priority. I don't think you can lose that game. I think the people who lose are the people who try to cut the corners and do all the slick stuff and, get people into, kind of a panicked moment of decision making. And I just feel like, again, that's not good. It's not moral. And ultimately, it's self-defeating. So while all your other competitors, quote unquote, are defeating themselves, what are you doing? You're providing more and more value. You're providing a better and better quality of relationship. And that comes around. Now, you can take a transactional approach and say, look, it's all about the average transaction amount. But I wouldn't. Should you measure that as a KPI? Absolutely, you should measure it. You should. You need to know what it is. But the goal can't just be to increase the per transaction amount or your total volume. The goal has got to be quality of relationships and the quality solution provided to the problem. And so when you look at it that way, you start to say, okay, so the people who are cutthroat are actually going to hurt their own business. That's right. And people who do it the quality way are actually going to succeed. That's right. Okay. But not only are we succeeding financially, right? We're succeeding relationally. We're succeeding in modeling our message. We're succeeding in transforming a interaction that is typically painful or at minimum manipulative into something that is life-giving, that is a win-win, and that makes you proud. Do you want your salespeople to go home at night and be like, wow, I feel like a rat because of what I did? Mrs. Jones came in for a refrigerator. She needed the small one, but I had to make my quota. I need to get my sales bonus. So I sold her the big one. How's that feel? It feels terrible. And you don't want to have a system that facilitates that kind of behavior. So it might be time for you to look at your sales process. I suggest that you take these following steps. Number one, write out all the steps. When a prospect calls in or walks in your showroom or however it happens for your business, what are the steps? Number one, write out all the steps. They usually ask this and we do this. They usually say this and we do this all the way through. Okay. All the way through until they have signed on the dotted line and made a purchase or they've gone somewhere else. And then I want you to look at where are measure points. Where are the points where we could create an objective measure? How many leads in a day? How many sales in a day? But also, how many times did we follow all of these steps? And then I want to ask yourself to kind of look at it one more time and say, is there any part of this process that doesn't build relationship, that doesn't build trust? And if you find some of those, ask your team, ask yourself, how can we alter that step so that it really builds trust? I'll give you one last little quick idea before we go today. I was purchasing a car, and I actually like that process. And so I was negotiating with the salesperson, and I usually will share something like what we've just been talking about with him. And so he gave me his price, and I asked him, because my good friend Michael Pink, who's the best sales teacher in the world, has taught me, ask people, is that your best offer? Is that the best you can do? And I asked him that, and he said that it was, and he had given me several discounts and whatnot. And I said, I just got one final question for you. What's your mother's name? And he said, Helen. And I said, would you make this deal with Helen and feel good about it? And I wanted to see his face, and he didn't blink. And given all his other behaviors, I think this was, congruent. And he said, yeah, I would. I think it's a great deal. And I bought the car. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to, are we really doing what's right for each other? And if we are, our business is going to thrive and our customers are going to be thrilled. So I hope this has been helpful today for you on how to bulletproof your business in the area of sales. And thanks, guys, for showing up. And I'll turn it back over to Adam.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Everybody, thank you for watching today. This week's episode, Bulletproof Your Business. Wonderful stuff on sales. I want to encourage you to share this broadcast and to make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. We're going to be live on YouTube every week, and we're also going to be streaming at the same time on Facebook. So if you don't follow us on Facebook, make sure you go do that. Founders Fire on Facebook, live every week on YouTube. We appreciate you all very much. Have the best Tuesday you ever had in your whole life. You better do it. We're counting on you. God bless you. See you next time.